Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page, where I do this Sunday through Thursday live stream show called the Spiritual Roundtable. And I'm kind of laughing about that because it's not really Sunday through Thursday anymore. You get kind of stuck in a rut saying the same things for months. And then when you do a change, it's like, oh, that's not right. Yeah, we're going to be changing up the times or the days that I'm here doing this live stream called the Spiritual Roundtable. Do you enjoy having a spiritual conversation? Or sometimes I like to call it a conversation about spirit. This show is all based on the divination cards that I draw in the morning, and the intention is the same every morning. I've been actually doing this card draw for myself for a couple decades, and it's been the last year and a half that I've brought it to a live stream show. So the intention is the same. It is talking to my spiritual team and asking them to please show me what is the most important energy that's flowing today that I need to know about for my highest good, for my soul growth, the highest good of all. For this particular show, I also ask that will help us connect the dots to gain some clarity, to have our individual aha moments, and that we can share with others if we choose, right? So that is the basis of the show. And if you enjoy talking about divination card draws and the essence behind those things, then you're in the right place. You're in the right place. So I'm going to get my thing up here so you know what you're watching. One of the things I do almost every single time we have a show is I take my phone and I find our live stream. There we are. And what I do is I like it or love it. And what I do is I send it over to my news feed, and I invite you to do the same thing. Or even if you want to just share it to a friend, that's great too. It's helpful for two reasons. The first reason is that whenever we come across something that's helpful in our soul growth, it's always nice to share it, whether it's a post or a video, an article, because, if it was helpful to you, someone else is looking for the same information. And so you just make it a little bit easier for them. I kind of call it a light workers or energy workers civic duty, right? And the other thing that it's helpful is that it puts us into the newsfeed a little bit more, and so that others can find us a heck of a lot easier, because Facebook has so much information, right, that things get buried really quickly. So what I'm going to do is I am sending the live stream over to my newsfeed, just reminding my friends that I'm live streaming, and asking them to please join us. There we go. And we're going to put a little emojicon on there. Doesn't take long. Doesn't take long at all. And then I'm also going to send it over to the Star Nations live stream closed group, and that's where most of the peeps that are in the community here at Star Nations, that's where they hang out the most. And so I'm just going to send it over to that closed group just to remind them that I'm live streaming. And asking them to please join. There we go. There. Done. Done. All right. Make sure my sound's turned down on my phone. Then I always like to check to see who's with me in the chat. Right? Oh my goodness, Margaret's here. Hello, Margaret. Man, it's been a long time since you and I talked. I hope all is well with you. It's always good to see you in the chat, whether it's this show or one of our other shows. And, for the rest of the audience, Thank you. Thank you for joining me this afternoon for the live chat. And if you're watching by the recorded show, thank you. Thank you for making the time in your day to watch the recorded show. And if you have any questions, even though you're watching the recorded, that's okay. Whether you have the comment or a question, just put it into the comment section. And if it's a question, make sure that you tag me, all right, so that I know your question's sitting there, and I'll try to do my best to answer it for you. Yeah, Judy just jumped on. Hello, Judy. Good to have you here. It's always good to see you. Good, good, good. And look, who else is here? Jen's here too. Good morning, Jen. Oh, it's good to have you here. I have a couple of things I want to share with you before we jump into the card information, okay? Do a little housekeeping stuff. Many of you know one of our longtime listeners and audience members, community member, Tina Warbonnet. You know that Tina's husband was pretty sick and he passed away yesterday. He walked on. And so prayers for Tina and her family would be really nice. You know, and wishing John a good journey home, right? And so I know that, I don't know, I highly doubt that we're going to see Tina in the chat in the next, you know, few weeks or days or whatever. So just, you know, keeping her in your heart and in your thoughts as she does this part of her walk, you know, the grief part, right? Yeah. Yeah. She just contacted me, I think that was this morning. And so I thought I'd share that and ask the rest of the community to please keep her in your hearts and in your mind with good thoughts, right? Good thoughts. Yeah. And the other thing is I wanted to, George just jumped up on the love seat. He's almost getting too big for it. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is that here at Star Nations, I've been working on a whole bunch of stuff as usual. And we're going to be bringing some new energy, you know, kind of doing that fall cleaning kind of thing. There's some old stuff that I've never taken care of, and it needs to be taken care of, and, you know, to do the clutter clearing kind of thing. And also we're going to be doing some new things coming. I'm hoping by the time I get back from vacation, which is next week, that we'll be implementing a few things the week that I get back. And so you're going to be seeing, you know, like for the magazine, Star Nations magazine, it's going to have a little bit of a different look to it, right? So we're in the process of freshening that up, and our website is going to get freshened up. And so we're in the midst of all of that. And I'm also one of the groups, and it's a mastermind group, and it helps me with vision, right, for our community, for Star Nations. And I'm going to get a little bit more involved with that because it's going to be helpful to me to get more streamlined, and so that I can actually free up a little bit more time. And so all of that is getting started. Because of all of that, I'm going to be dropping down the number of days that I'm available for this live stream, just for a while. I'm not sure exactly for how long. I do know that I'm going to be live streaming the Spiritual Roundtable on Sunday afternoons because I like being with you guys on Sundays. And also we'll be live streaming on Wednesdays. So it's for 2 days, right? Sunday and Wednesday. That will give me some free time on those other days, those other 2 days to work on Star Nation stuff. So, and we're going to get that started when I get back from vacation this week. This week I have a business call tomorrow, so we won't be live streaming tomorrow, but I'll be back on Wednesday. Yeah, I think those are the ones. Those are the good ones. Make sure I covered all of it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, thank you guys. Oh, that is so nice of you. Judy saying prayers with angels and wings around Tina's family. Thank you. And prayers from Margaret. And Jenna saying prayers and blessings sent. Thank you guys. Thank you, ladies. That's very sweet. You know, I think that we've all experienced some sort of death in our families, right? The physical death. And even though in our mental mind we understand the concept and our belief system. So many of us here at Star Nations, we view death much differently than the general population, right? That we're spirit first, and our soul is immortal, whereas our physical body is finite, right? And but we all experience it, and we all experience it in different ways. And so, yeah, my thoughts and my heart are just with Tina, because, watching my mom and my mom-in-law go through the walking on of their spouses, my mom and my dad and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, and watching these two ladies and how different, and yet they're going through very similar things, about a decade apart, and being there to support them, right, as they're going through that. And also, also they have children, grown children too, and grandchildren. So, the whole family is going to be affected. So really, oh no. All right. So hopefully you're back, Judy. Sometimes it's helpful just to refresh the screen if you know how to do that. We are having some weather here. It was just pouring like 5 minutes ago. And of course, that's exactly when George wanted to go out. And so we have some weather here, and there was some thunder out in the distance. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but yeah. All right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get started with the card information. And for those who might just be joining us, this is the deck that we're currently using. It's the Angel and Ancestors Oracle deck by Kyle Gray. And Kyle Gray is from Scotland. He lives in Scotland, Glasgow. And the illustrator, because these pictures are something, the illustrator is Lily Moses, and she's from New Zealand. Lily Moses. Yeah, somebody was just asking me just a couple days ago about this deck of cards, and I told them that I had gotten it from Amazon, right? And this was a year ago, I think, something like that. I was looking to get that nudge, from my spiritual team, that it was time to buy a new deck. And so I was scrolling through Amazon.com and looking for something that was Native American or Earth-based, Indigenous-based cards, and a really nice deck, right? So anyway, I'm scrolling through and I saw this picture, because this is the picture that's on the box. And it was like almost coming to a screeching halt, because it literally felt like it was jumping off the screen at me. And so I clicked on it to find out more about it, and I ended up buying it. And I have to say, it is one of my favorite decks now. I didn't know anything about Kyle Gray. I didn't know who he was or that he's been at this for a while. He has two other decks that I don't have, but this one's really good. So it was published in 2018, September 2018. I think I ordered it like in August, and we got started using it in October of last year. So it's not quite a year that we've coming back around to use it again. So here we go. First card, Hermit. Now, the Hermit card has been here already once this past week. It's about retreat and recharging. Retreat and recharging. To be still, to be in the quiet. You don't necessarily have to go up on a mountain or into a cave physically. But it's that stillness of mind, body, and spirit, right? Yeah. And in the background on the wall, the cave wall in the background, is the Shir Yantra. And it's East Indian. symbol. I want to say it's Sufi, but it's not. It is I lost the word. But that particular symbol is about the balance between the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine energies. Right? So this hermit sitting there, and he's calm, he's quiet, he's listening, right? Gone into that quiet place. And for me, that's within our hearts. And do you notice that on his third eye, right? Do you see? Let's see if I can get that to focus. Focus. Focus in. There we go. Serene, I would say his face is. But the mark that he has going through the center of his forehead, igniting his third eye, that red color that we've been talking about for 2 days now, that red color, which is a very masculine and active color, right? Aboriginal looking. Yeah. So go and retreat and recharge. In other words, getting quiet and taking the time, carving out that time, right, to go into the silence. I know that we all live really, really busy lives, right? And sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to carve out that time. In the old days, like a decade ago, practically, I used to do half-hour meditations every day. That's how important it was to me. And had a lot of really interesting things happening in those meditations. And I'd say in the last 3 years, maybe 4, I haven't been able to do those half-hour meditations, but I still do go into the quiet, even if it's just for 5 minutes, right? Even the longest ones I get is when I'm doing them for somebody else. Because somebody has asked me to help them with something, and so to go into the quiet and see what spirit has to say about that situation. I'm sometimes there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but when it's on my own, I fit it in, but it's not nearly as long. And we really should, I think it's more important that we actually do it, that we just don't talk about it. And even if you can just, carve out 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of your day, it's so important. It is so important because when we're there, what we also do is we get grounded, right? And we get centered. We take those deep breaths in. And we might ask the question that we're seeking an answer to, and then we get quiet, and then we listen, right? So, it's just important, I think. Jen is saying, is a Queenlander Kyle Gray, or is that the illustrator Lily? Lily, the illustrator, is from New Zealand, and Kyle Gray, the author, is from Scotland, Glasgow. Jen says, red for me is a very grounding color, connection to Mother Gaia. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why there's indigenous people in different parts of the world. They actually use the color the ochre color, that reddish color, brownish red, for that reason. Yeah. Yep, I got that one. Sorry about that. Well, hello there, Albert. Good to have you here. Well, Edward, hello there. He says a bit late. Sorry, was having. Ooh, yum. Yum. What did we have, Edward? No worries. Right on time. And waves. Yeah. Okay. So the Hermit. So spirit's strongly suggesting that we take some time to go into the quiet, to go into the silence, wherever that is for you, because there's different ways to do this, right? It's quieting the mental mind, slowing down, surrounding yourself with your spiritual team, and sitting. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe you're going for a walk in nature. But it's really about going into the quiet, being still. The message is take time to rest and recuperate in order to continue your growth. Benefit from the information that will come directly from your heart space. So basically, what Kyle's saying is that to retreat and recharge is really essential to our spiritual growth. It says the Hermit card is one of solitude and meditation. Many times it's represented by the cave of your heart. Many of the answers to your problems lie within. And if you don't take the time to connect with yourself and feel comfortable alone, you won't be able to hear the messages that are rising up inside of you. And it's because we live those busy lives, right? We live those busy lives where multitasking has become a great skill. And I have to say that I was a better multitasker in my 30s and in my 40s than I am in my 50s. I can still do it, but not as many things at one time. And it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm making supper and I'm cooking, I'm not multitasking because I have to concentrate. I have to concentrate on what I'm doing. Really be present with it, right? Because when we're multitasking, we're not really present. We're not really present in the moment. We're just a tad bit out there in the future, and maybe even a tad bit in the past, but we're not completely in the present. And so when I'm cooking, I can't do that. I really have to focus on what I'm doing because I'll forget if I'm counting something, in a recipe, I'll lose track. Did I put it in there? Did I not put it in there? So I keep focused. Well, Edward said he had stuffed mushrooms with rice. Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds good. We usually have Chinese on Wednesday nights. No, not Wednesdays, Tuesdays. Wednesdays we used to, but things got a little hectic in there, and to go and pick it up is even a problem. So we moved it to Tuesdays because Tuesdays is a really busy day. And so with the Hermit card, it's about being quiet, being still so that you can hear the messages from your spiritual team, from your higher self. It says you've been working hard and giving your all to your current situation, and it may become draining and detrimental to your development unless you retreat and recharge your energies. If you're working on bringing something together, your over-involvement could impede the process, so retreat and breathe. If you have something to say or do that could have a larger impact on your life, spend some time in a deep thought, even contemplation, before moving forward. Often, when we rush in, we don't see how destructive other actions can be. So meditate and listen to your soul's wisdom before proceeding. Yeah. So just to slow down just a little bit, just to take in, to go inside and to be quiet, to ask the questions you need to ask that you're seeking an answer for. And once you do that, is to be quiet. That's really hard for us two-leggeds. Some two-leggeds, they literally talk in their sleep because they're talking so much. But this Hermit card is reminding us to take the time and to slow down, recharge, and to go within, right? And really that going within is kind of like it's not necessarily a reset, but it is a pause, right? And sometimes it's really good because that way we're in divine timing rather than forcing, right? With our will, with our mind, forcing something to happen. And I don't know about you, but whenever I've done that, I end up having to go back and clean up something that, and gave myself more work to do rather than being more in the moment and allowing spirit to do the divine timing thing, right? And sometimes it's that patience thing. All right. So that was the first card, Hermit. Retreat and recharge. And the Shir yantra and behind him is about the balance between the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, right? Going within, there's a place in our heart that is a unified field where there is no duality. And so if you're going to go quiet and go silent, that's a good place to be in, a really good place to be in because energetically, spiritually, you're not adjusting to the energies that are around you. When you're in your heart and in that place where you're in the unified field, you can relax. And because it's the unified field with the creator, you're in your higher self, in your soul self. And so that is the place to wait for the answers because your soul already knows. It's just getting that information to your conscious self. I have coffee today and it's yum. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. Second card. She's back. The Water Guardian. Connect with your emotions. And where's the best place to do that? When you're in meditation, when you're seeking those answers and you're going quiet. Right? Connecting to those deep parts of yourself. And this, I do like this card though. You know why? I love the colors of the blue, the different shades. It's even in our hair. Right? The Water Guardian, connect with your emotions. The message is take time to understand how you really feel. Know that your sensitivity is not a curse, but a gift that allows you to receive and understand messages directly from your soul. And so a good time to do that is when you're in the silence. Right? And, maybe it's one of those emotions that you experienced in a situation or an event, right? Something that's going on in your life. And whether that strong emotion, whether it is anger or fear or joy or happiness, right? It's good to go inside and ask that question, especially if it's one of the really strong negative emotions that you don't know, what was that about? What triggered that? Why did I feel so upset about whatever that is, right? And wait for the answers, the feelings, the emotions. And I also include the positive emotions in there as well. Because sometimes, we feel really good, we feel joyful, but nothing on the outside is really noticeable. And it's like this feeling comes over you, even if it's just for a moment. And you can go into the silence and even ask about that, because you want more of that. And so how do you get more of that? What happened in whatever situation that was that triggered that feeling, that positive feeling, right? So you want to know about those things too. Yeah. Because generally speaking, the lower vibrational emotions are all connected to a soul growth situation, right? And so those are important. Those are important to find out more about, to go to do that research, that inner quest to find out, right? Yeah. Hello there, Margaret. Good to have you here. It's always good to have you here in the chat. We were talking about the card draws for today, and the second card in the card draw is the Water Guardian. And here's what the author has to say, Kyle Gray. He said, water is the element that's in your blood, your tears, and your flesh. The water guardian represents the angels of water who can help you dive within to understand the depths of your emotions. These angels are all about helping you to see your emotions aren't just the feelings that are on the surface. They are also the old emotions you may have locked deep within the shadows of your soul. Through helping you acknowledge your deepest emotions, the angels of water help you to hear the messages these have for you and to unlock your intuitive powers and the energies of abundance. Because, our emotions are directly connected to our manifesting, right? Our creating. Our emotions are the fuel for it. Whether it's the joyful, fun, excited emotions, or whether it is the angry, scared emotions, they're all a part of the creation. It's the fuel. Yeah. And the thing is that what they're saying here is to go into the silence. Go into that place in your heart so that you can hear the messages, feel the messages, see the messages coming from your spiritual team, from your higher self. This second card is supporting the information and the message from the first card, which was the Hermit, right? And that was all about retreat and recharge. It was to go into the quiet, into the silence, to go into your heart. Yeah. Now, I have to say, we've had both these cards last week, not in the same order, but both of them from last week. And whenever I get the same card multiple times, Spirit is really, really trying to get a message across, right? And so here on this show, the Spiritual Roundtable, we always take it deeper. And when we do that, we have the opportunity to really take in what is the most important energy that's flowing for us, right? And why? So here's the extended message. It says your angels want you to know that it's okay to feel the emotions that are surfacing in you at this time. It doesn't matter if they're joyful or sad. They're all powerful messengers that allow you to understand what you want and need. Taking time to breathe and acknowledge them lets them flow through you rather than crashing down on you as an overwhelming wave. Note that there are also intuitive psychic messages rising up in you at this time, and unless you acknowledge everything as it comes up, you may miss an important guidance. Okay? So So, us two-leggeds, us humans, boy, can we make things complicated, can't we? And so sometimes we have these emotions that are connected to a life lesson, right? And sometimes they're really painful. And so what we do is we think we're walking away from them, and really all we're doing is repressing them, suppressing them. And eventually they have to come out. And one way or another, they will come out. And so, the pressure release valve, if you want to think of it that way, is really about going into the silence and asking about it, right? Asking to be shown with some clarity about what was that all about, and why was whatever it was that triggered that memory or those feelings, if it's something that you've repressed. Because I can tell you one thing from experience, that when these emotions come to the surface, that means we have everything that we need to address them, to resolve them, to heal them, and to let them go. We have everything we need. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming to the surface. Even though, and they may come from a very traumatic or painful time in your life, right? And I know, we don't want to go through the memories and to remember all the pain and the hurt, right? But you know what? We have so many really good tools that you don't necessarily have to re-experience all the pain. You can heal it without having to go through all the really painful memories, right? There's so many different therapies out there now, and there's so many different ways to be able to do this without having to relive a trauma. Because the more important thing is to heal it, right? Not just to bring it up, just to to go through that really horrible time again. Jen is saying, I feel the universe placed me in the position I am in to safely unlock and release all that is blocking me from walking my divine life's path. Gee whiz, obstacles are blessings in disguise. Yes, they are. They really are. Yeah. And the repression or the suppression of them, there's probably more going on with the reason why you used the repression or the suppression, rather than that going through the actual trauma of it all, right? Is to ask for clarity around that. Why am I afraid? Why do I have fear in healing this aspect? Because once we identify it, we can deal with it. We can. Yeah. Edward. He says silence can be as noise filled. There's a lot there. It's not empty. By a long shot, it's not empty. But going into the silence for me means is quieting the mental mind, right? Getting connected to Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky, being in that balance, and to be able to be in a position to really hear the message from my higher self, from my soul, and from my spiritual team. Yeah, that's what it means to me. Yeah, and sometimes, you can be in a really, really busy, loud place. And if you've done this a few times, you know what it feels like to be in that quiet place. If you've been there enough times for you can go there anytime. You can go there while you're waiting for your next flight and all the hustle and bustle in an airport, and you can go into that quiet place, into that silence. Yeah. All right. So that was the water guardian, supporting that first card. So really much of it is about being in a place to really dive into those emotions that need to be addressed, right? Yeah. Here's the third card. I like this card. It's called the Elder. The Elder. It says, move beyond the ancestral patterns. Move beyond the ancestral patterns. Aboriginal. You know, science say that they're the oldest living tribal people on the planet. They've been here the longest. Right? And this elder, this spirit is saying, move beyond ancestral patterns. Right? And for some of us, that means that we have to kind of sift through our belief systems. What works for us, what supports us, and what doesn't anymore. And it takes some courage, some bravery, I think, to let go of those that no longer support you. Because many times those are attached to, family stuff, right? And so it's just not letting go of that belief or that pattern. But you also have to sometimes, not always, sometimes have to let go of a family member or a friend when you do that, because you're no longer like energy meeting like energy. You're just kind of, missing each other, right? Yeah. But when we do that, that also means that we are freeing up some of our energy to spend on our soul growth and our soul, our soul's evolution, right? Yeah. Jenna's saying, I have tinnitus ringing in the ears. So meditation is the only time I hear silence and feel absolute peace. Yeah. You also get some relief too, right? Yeah, from the ringing. Hey, Christine, good to have you here. She says, cool. I know I like that card. I really do. And this illustrator, like I said earlier in the show, this illustrator is holy wow. She does some really good images. All right, so here is the message coming from the elder. It says, move beyond the limitations that have been set for you by family members, past and present. Know that the energy of your spirit is more powerful than genetics and behavioral patterns. The Aboriginal people are the oldest tribal people still living on the planet. The hunter-gatherer culture and ancient spirituality are rooted in the tradition and balance with the earth. So the Aboriginal ancestors are offering you not only wisdom that will help you heal and adapt to the ever-changing planet, but also to understand the understanding of what a spiritual life should be. Right? And I'm going to say something that might not everybody's not going to agree with, and that's okay. But in our soul's evolution and our gaining wisdom from our life lessons, right? We talk about that as ascension. And I have studied about ascension things for about 20 years. And I have to say that the evolution of Grandmother Earth is the one that's leading the way. We're not leading the way, it's her. And so as our soul evolves and expands, right? Expands. In that expansion, sometimes we have to let go of what is called tradition. Not all the time, but sometimes we do, because whatever that is, in whatever situation, sometimes it doesn't support our growth because we're vibrating completely different than past generations, right? And it's not to say that traditional values are not needed, because they are, and traditional beliefs. What I'm saying is that if it doesn't feel right for you, there's a reason for it. And that to find your answers with your higher self, and why do I have to deviate from this belief, right? Those ancestral patterns. So in other words, there's some things that come from our families that we don't necessarily have to embrace or even believe in. So for instance, in my family, there's heart issues, right? From my grandfather on my mom's side, he had angina attacks, and he had heart attacks. He had heart failure, those kinds of things. My mom, same thing, right? And I don't necessarily believe that just because my grandfather or my mother had this, that I have to have it. I don't believe that. I believe that when I address those emotions that broke their hearts, and I'm the disruptor. I'm the disruptor of that cycle. Going in and taking a look at those emotions that they repressed. And so I heal it, right? In those layers, so I don't necessarily have to be believing that because they had heart issues that I'm going to as well. I don't believe that. Yeah. Margaret saying time is changing. Yeah, it is changing. It is. Not everything is going to remain the same. There's aspects that we can bring forward that our ancestors held as truth, are still a truth today. We hold it in our DNA, right? In our blood and our bones, in the water in our bodies. Yeah. There's a time and a place to heal all things. And when they come to the surface in you, when those emotions that are either yours because you created it in this lifetime, or perhaps they're emotions that went from generation to generation to generation, those are the ones that are hidden, right? That you too could be the disruptor in that cycle to heal that. And your descendants, no matter who they are, they won't ever have to deal with those. They'll have to deal with other things, but not necessarily that one, right? And such a gift to give to them. Such a gift. So Edward saying, so resonates. I grew up in an Irish Catholic family and having to lose some things to move forward and make tough calls. Yes. Yes. And and Edward, it's a different religion, yes, but it's very similar to those things that I had to go through too. My family, my mom's side, right, for generations were they're a part of both the traditional Native American religion called either the Dream Drum or the Medicine Lodge, right? And both of them have very rigid beliefs. Not all things rigid, but there's some. There's some. And I had to look at those, right? So what I'm saying is I don't think it matters so much about what the label or what we call something that holds that belief and passed it down, that you and I are going through the same sifting of beliefs and what's a truth for me, what supports me now, right? And it's not always popular. It's not always popular, unfortunately. But it's in that soul growth. And so we don't have to hold on to the patterns. We can move beyond them. But in order to understand that action that we're going to take, going into the silence, right? To understand the decision that you're making and letting something go or keeping, right? And some of that, if not all of it, will have some sort of deep emotions attached to it. So the elder is the ancestor who comes with a message of healing change. He is an embodied soul, yet he has and had journeys that go beyond the physical. Therefore, he represents a reclamation of power. A reclamation of power. When he appears, it's an acknowledgement that you have the capacity to move beyond the limitations that have been placed upon you. If you have had expectations of success, failure, sadness, or even sickness placed upon you by your family, it's important to know that you are here to create your own story. This card represents the personal healing that will bring healing to your family lineage, past, present, and future. Know that you get to decide what you take on. And also know that your ancestors are rooting for you, they're cheering for you, and are sorry for any setbacks they may have created for you. Right? And our soul growth, our soul expansion. That when we do this kind of deep healing of emotions, those deeply held emotions, when they come to the surface, to address them, you are healing yourself, which is a good thing. But you're also affecting the healing of your ancestors and of your descendants, 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. So it's no small thing that we do. It's not when we do that kind of healing. And when something floats to the surface, I hope that you can embrace it and say, okay, let's deal with this. Let's find out how we can best heal this and let it go so that you too can be a disruptor. All right. Here's Jen. Jen is saying, I have seen Aboriginal spirits since I was a kid, and I have no Aboriginal lineage that I'm aware of, though experienced a past life as one. We are so connected. Some traditions I believe to not actually being original tradition, but more so an additional man-made indoctrination to mislead us from our divine truth. Yes, it's called control. That, they try to control their people. Yes. But that too, we heal and let go. I can tell you, Jen, is that as a Native American, as an indigenous Native woman, right? There's a whole lot of healing that can get done. Here in the States, the way our government has treated Native people for generations, right? There's a lot of hurt and pain that goes along with that. And so as those things rise to the surface and gets triggered, then I think, oh, here we go. We got another layer to do, right? Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of broken hearts, right? A lot of broken hearts. Yeah, trust is really, really kind of low. Did you know that gallbladder issues and removal of gallbladder is really high here in the States for Native Americans? Yeah. So, there's a lot of healing that can happen. And I do believe that we, in past lives, we've been everything. We've gone back and forth between being male and female, rich and poor, in good health, not in good health, right? To experience a full range of life. And so, yes, we have come in as different races, different ethnic groups, different belief systems, right? Yeah. All that so that we can heal. We can heal and we can let it go. And I think many of us are back here right now in this time to do just that, because many of us were here at the fall of Atlantis. And we remember that. We remember the emotions around it. And so that we're back here so that we can help others to make a different choice, right? That we can make a different choice for ourselves. Yeah, so it's no small thing. We're in a PhD school. Earth is not an elemental school. It's not elementary school at all. No, we are in the really, really deep higher learning and soul expansion, right? That our growth here affects the entire universe, not just us, right? And so it's no small thing. You're welcome, Margaret. Yeah, and Jen is saying, yes, generational trauma. I've been breaking many chains and healing the tapestry of life, reweaving, right? That tapestry. It's good. All right. My goodness, we're at the top of the hour. All right, you know how this works, guys. I'm going to show you all three cards. All three cards, because that elder is really telling us to go into that quiet, identify what needs to be healed, and move beyond those patterns, heal them, release them. And if all possible, go as deep as you possibly can. Take the opportunity if it's being presented to you. If it's being presented to you, you have everything at your fingertips to utilize in order to do that. Okay, so we know, right, that to take in the optimal amount of the information coming through the cards, that we know that it's very helpful to call to your spiritual team, ask them to come close. They're always there. They're always with you, but ask them to come close and to help you to take in as much information that's optimal for you in both the seen and unseen that the cards carry for us today. Okay, so deep breath in, and as you exhale is taking in the information, right? So we started out with the Hermit, that Spirit's asking us to go into the silence, to be quiet, retreat and recharge, to identify those emotions right, that we could use to heal, that the water guardian is very happy to help us with, to identify them, to heal them, and to let them go. As they float to the surface, even if you just do one, that's a huge change. The elder comes in to help us to understand the significance of why we would want to do this kind of healing. Because it's going to change a pattern. We're going to disrupt a cycle that's going to affect us and everyone around us. It's going to affect our lineage, both forward and backward. Right? And it really does help us to set up for the next life lesson for soul expansion and soul growth. Right? So look at that. We have two male energies on either side of the water guardian, of the emotions. Right? And even the colors are different, aren't they? That contrast between that really brilliant blue and the earth colors that the two men are carrying. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's good. Wow. So be prepared, if you'd all take Spirit up on its message, right? If it resonates with you, when you have that feeling that an emotion is coming to the surface that you have tried to push away, or maybe you didn't even know it was there, to identify it and get assistance, ask for help, and how to heal it and how to release it and let it go, right? Yeah. And I encourage you to go deep as you possibly can. Yeah. To heal it. So if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. There's always Wednesday's card draw. Because remember, tomorrow I'm not going to be here. I have that business call that I have to be on in the afternoon. If I could figure out how to bilocate, I would do both. I would do both. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just going to get caught up with you guys in the chat so that I don't miss anything here. Margaret saying thank you. You're welcome, Margaret. Edward saying thank you, Neshi. My eyes went straight to the water. Yes, me too. Me too. Edward saying thank you. I did that one. Sorry about that. Jackie. Hey, Jackie. Beautiful messages today. I agree. I totally agree. We have the opportunity to really make a shift, I think. Hey, Sheila. Oh, Sheila, we're not doing individual card readings today. If you enjoy that, come back tomorrow. Wednesday. Sorry, not Tuesday. Wednesday. Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is a show called Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay. It's part of Star Nation's live stream shows. And Polly Jo is one of our hosts, and she will do card readings after the healing meditation on Wednesday night. Okay, watch for the promotions on that, and join us there because it's really good. It really is good. All right, and Jen says he is telling us it's time to come home to our roots, our truth, our real truth, right? The truth of our soul. Yeah, I agree, Jen. Hello, Lisa. It's good. Yeah, beautiful. I agree. You're welcome, Jen. And you're welcome, Angela. It's good to have you here too, Angela. It's always good to see you. Okay. So remember, tomorrow, no live stream from me on Spiritual Roundtable. I'll be back on Wednesday. And Tuesday night is my weekly show called Communications from Home. It's the weekly evening show at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to be talking, oh my goodness, I want to share with you about the September issue of Star Nations magazine. Holy smokes. Wait till you hear the backstory on some of these articles that were written for this issue. Talk about spirit working its magic throughout this issue. Every issue, but this one, most definitely. So join me at 8 p.m. and I'll tell you all about it. And so with that, enjoy the rest of your Monday. And we'll be back here on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the Spiritual Roundtable. Okay? All right. Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi language, and that means until we see each other again. I'll talk to you soon.